Hi, it's Crystal here, your nature-inspired relationship coach, and today I want to talk to you about making changes in your relationship, and I want to talk to you about some of the obstacles that you can come across when trying to do that. And it's something that comes up for lots of couples who come and see me for relationship coaching. They'll want to make positive changes in their relationship, but at some point they'll meet some resistance. And sometimes when you're dissatisfied with your relationship, you want changes to be made really quickly quite often. But what if you're being unrealistic in your expectations? What if you're being unfair to your partner and expecting them to change too quickly? And what if it simply means that you need to adjust your expectations? Positive change in your relationship is absolutely possible. I know this because I've helped hundreds of couples make positive changes in their relationships. But lasting change takes time, and it takes effort, and it takes work and commitment. And sometimes it's about actually just recognizing how far you're coming along and actually being a bit patient and kind to yourselves and to each other. So I've made a 3-part video blog series, and it's based on a couple, Jessica and Steve, who came and saw me for relationship coaching, and it's exploring some of the typical issues and challenges that any couple who come and see me for relationship coaching often encounter. Now, Jessica and Steve are a fictional couple, and they're based on a typical kind of couple who might come and see me for relationship coaching. And the reason they're fictional is because I always protect client confidentiality. But I think it's important to give you a case study example so that you can understand how some of this might apply to you in your relationship, and it gives you a much better overview of how the whole process works. So this is part 1, and part 1 for Jessica and Steve was all about setting a vision for their relationship. So I've got some notes here to remind myself as to the areas we want to cover. So Jessica, to give you the background then, Jessica came to see me with her husband Steve for relationship coaching, and she was complaining that she felt patronised by Steve and belittled in the way that he spoke to her. And Jessica found Steve's approach to problems very black and white and very direct and blunt. So Jessica would say, for example, rather than listening to her when she was talking about a work problem, what would happen instead was that Steve would get annoyed with her and start telling her what to do. And so Jessica said to me, he speaks really loudly, which can also be quite intimidating. Now, although Jessica had become used to Steve's communication style fairly early on in the relationship, what had happened was she was starting to resent the way he spoke to her, and she'd been bottling that up, and the resentment had been building over the years until now. And they were here in the relationship coaching session with me in my room, wanting things to change, but because Jessica had let things build up so quickly, she basically wanted things to change by yesterday. So she wanted really quick results because she'd reached the end of her tether. It was almost like the lid had blown, and she just felt she couldn't tolerate their problems any longer. So that was from Jessica's point of view. And now that she was sitting in a relationship coaching session with Steve and finally able to speak, she just completely offloaded. Finally given the chance to speak after all this time, she just really let rip almost. And she listed all of the ways she was dissatisfied with Steve's communication. And I could actually see Steve visibly withdrawing throughout the session, turning away from her, folding his arms, breaking eye contact with her. And at that point I felt like I had to step in. And I explained that whilst listing all of the things that your partner does or doesn't do in the relationship and pointing out all of their flaws might feel cathartic for you, it'll actually get you nowhere in the long run. And the reason is because doing that means that rather than being constructive or providing any helpful information that you can both use to move the relationship forward, it will just feel to your partner like a character assassination. And so I explained one of the first golden rules for solving problems in your relationship. And this golden rule is, rather than focusing on what you don't want, focus on what you do want. And it might sound simple, but I've lost count the number of couples who come and see me who find it easier to point out the negatives in the relationship and all of the things that they don't have than it is to think of the positive solutions. And focusing on what you do want gives the relationship a positive, hopeful focus. And that can actually be really motivating for you to actually make those changes for both you and your partner. So having relationship goals and focusing on those means that you can form a clear pathway to achieving your relationship vision. Now, I explained that although sometimes we really want to rush ahead, taking the time out at the beginning of any journey, wherever you're going, reading the map, setting the destination, understanding how you're going to get there, can save so much time and heartache later on. So your relationship vision and actually how you achieve that is no different. So what I did was I set Jessica and Steve a homework task, and the work that they would do in between the sessions were easily as important, if not more important, than the work they would do within the couple's sessions with me, because it's actually when you're in your own environment where you need to put your new skills and techniques into practice that the change can really start to take place. So I set them a homework task. I wanted them to each go home and write out individually on a piece of paper up to 3 positive changes that they wanted to see in their relationship. And I wanted them to do it individually without conferring with each other. But what we agreed was that in the next session they would share their 3 positive changes with each other, and that would be the focus of the next session, and that we would go from there. So they was clearly setting a vision about focusing what they do want from their relationship. So if you want to know what happened next, join me in my next video blog post. That will be coming out in a couple of days. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my relationship coaching newsletter, where you'll get lots of relationship coaching advice and tips completely free, and I'm always updating that. But you can also make sure you follow my blog. So if you come to my website, which is www.krystalwoodbridge.com, that's KRYSTAL woodbridge.com, there I post all of my blogs. You can sign up for my newsletter there using the link provided. And if you haven't already, follow my YouTube channel, come and subscribe there, because all of my video blogs get posted on there as well. So I really look forward to seeing you for part 2 of Jessica and Steve's journey. Take care for now. Bye.